Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well and welcome to my Advent Calendar December series of videos. As you all know, I found the cutest Advent calendar on Amazon and I absolutely love this Advent calendar. You've seen this in my holiday decorating vlog, you've seen this in my December TBR video, and he is back because we're going to use him throughout the entire month of December on a series of 4 videos where the Advent calendar controls my bookish week. Now I've had my husband help me with this because I wanted to be surprised and I wanted you guys to be surprised with what is in every one of these drawers because I want to kind of go in blind to every day, and he so graciously agreed to help me put this thing together. So this Advent calendar contains all the books that I'm going to read during the month of December, activities I'm going to do during the month of December, and true to form with an Advent calendar, it also contains some gifts that we're going to open up together. Now I did give him a list of bookish gifts that I would want, like a list of like a lot of bookish gifts that I would want, and he went ahead and picked a few of those, not all of them, but just a few of those so that I don't know what they are. Like I know what they could be, but I don't know what they are. And he went ahead and wrapped them and kind of like arranged them randomly throughout the Advent calendar so that when we do open up a gift together, we're all going to be surprised. I also thought it would be a really good idea to share that list with you guys in case you are looking for bookish like gift ideas. So I'm going to go ahead and link the Amazon list below so that you can have a peruse if you want to. It's not the most extensive bookish like gift guide. I know there's a lot of gift guides out there right now, so it's probably not going to be anything super surprising, but if you want to have a peruse, go ahead and do so. It's going to be linked down below. So without further ado, let's get started with the series. I'm so excited to find out what the Advent calendar has in store for us, and I hope you enjoy.
Hello, I'm Pete. So I've been working on this Advent calendar. I think it's pretty cool. I'm hoping that I got all this stuff right. Now, Bernie has given me kind of general instructions about some specifics so that I don't get that wrong. So part of it's making sure that like she has enough time to read these books. And so she's picked out books. You guys probably know the books that she's picked out because they're on her TBR. And I'm going to kind of randomly put these books. Now she wants to start every week with a book. So obviously the first row is going to get a book that she's going to read. And then to kind of space everything out evenly, I'm just going to use the odd number rows here, not this, the odd number rows, and put the books in there. And I'm just going to pick out the books randomly to kind of put them in there. And that's how we're going to start this. So I'm going to start this by just filling in the odd numbers starting the first day of the week of the books that she's going to read, the books on her TBR. And then from there, I'm going to move to the yellow, all the yellow or activities that she's going to do. Once a week, she's going to have an activity to do too. So in any of the open rows that doesn't have a book in it, I'm going to put one of those per week in there. And then also, these are not great. They're coal, right? It's sort of like a punishment, but really it's, I don't know if I should say book girlies or whatever. I feel really weird saying that, but it's things that you guys do all the time, you know? So there'll be an activity in once a week, there'll be coal in once a week, and then she'll have to read books on every one of the odd days, okay? And then also, these are rewards. So I know what you're thinking. Like, there's more coal than there are rewards, but then there's a lot of these. A lot more of these than there are coal, and these are gifts. So she's going to have gifts that are just scattered throughout. So on a day she gets coal, maybe she also gets a gift. I don't know. Maybe not. No, but maybe. I do know some of these books, though. I watch her videos, and like, so I know her TBR. I don't know her TBR like you guys know her TBR. I guess what I mean is like some of them that I look at, I'll be familiar with, and I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start randomly. You're not going to know which ones I put in because I think that's kind of fun for you too, not to know until she knows. Okay? Empty, not empty. Empty, no. No. Yes. Oh, this is a good one. Yes. See the last one? Yeah, put this one there. Okay, and so now I'm going to go ahead and add an activity once a week. Let me think about this really quick. Okay. That's a good one. That's it. Okay, now that all the drawers are filled, I'm gonna go ahead and take the presents that you probably saw me wrapping, and I'm gonna put those under the tree.
So I have my advent calendar all prepped and ready to go. All the gifts are under the tree. It's December 1st today, and we can get started with opening up the first drawer of our advent calendar. Okay, I have two little pieces of paper in here. I know the dark blue ones are books because these are the ones I gave him from my December TBR or just like my general Christmas TBR, so I know this is a book. So let's see what book we have to read first. Marry Me by C.R. Jane. So for the book, we have Marry Me by C.R. Jane. Let me grab the book. So that's this book right here. This is going to be the first book that we're reading in this vlog. And then the second little piece of paper that I have in here says, on to the next chapter, open gift number 11. Ooh, on to the next chapter, open gift number 11. So let's see what we have in gift number 11. So he did number all the presents. So I've located present number 11. Let's see what this is. It kind of, honestly, it feels a little bit like a book, like it's a little squishy, kind of like a book, like the way that it moves, but I'm not sure, so let's see what this is. Oh, A Heart for Christmas by Sophie Jo Main. It's an Advent romance. So this is from Barnes. I saw this at Barnes, and it's one of those Advent calendar books that you basically have to open a chapter to read every single day for 24 days until you finish the book. So this is really, really sweet. I love that this was also included on the first day because now today I have to read the first chapter. Yeah, so there's like little instructions in here. Open a sealed chapter every day and discover the new chapter in this Christmas story set in a ski resort in the French Alps. Make sure you have a letter opener or a ruler and hot chocolate by your side. Happy reading. That's so cute. I love this. We have 24 chapters in here. They're all sealed, but they have like a perforated edge right here. So you basically open each chapter every single day. This honestly is like the cutest thing I've ever seen. So I'm very excited to read this book this month. Let me go ahead and grab like a letter opener because I do have one, and let's open up the first chapter. So we're opening up December 1st. Ah, I love that. Oh, and it does have color illustrations in it. That's so sweet. Oh, that's so cute. Okay. All right. So we have our reading cut out for us. I have book number 1, which is going to be Marry Me by C.R. Jane. So this book is essentially supposed to be set in the same universe as like the Wrong Players Club series. I did read the first book in this series called The Wrong Quarterback, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was kind of like a dark rom-com. Like most of the book was not dark at all, but like there was like one thing in the book that made it kind of like dark. But overall, I did really enjoy it, and I liked the characters in that book. So I'm very excited for this one because apparently some of those characters are supposed to show up in this book as well. So I'm going to get to reading because I have my reading cut out for me. I have to start this book today, and I have to read the first chapter of this book. So I will check in with you guys when I have my first update on these. Good morning and welcome to day 2 of our December Advent Calendar vlog. Today is in fact December 2nd. So it's time to open up our second day on the Advent Calendar and see what we have in store for us today. However, before I do that, I'm going to give you guys an update on Marry Me because I started this yesterday, as you guys saw. Let me give you guys a quick rundown of what this is about. So this essentially follows the main characters, Natalie and Easton, and they met each other when they were in 7th grade. And from the very beginning, Easton was like very much in love with her, and when they met, the day that they met, he said he's going to marry her someday. However, when they're in high school, or when he's graduated high school, she's a year younger, I think, so she's staying behind there in Tennessee. He wants to become an actor and he's leaving for Hollywood. So she ends up breaking up with him because she has this trauma thing going on because of her father. Her father ended up leaving their family around the Christmas season, and she's been kind of like traumatized by that. So she does this thing where she leaves people before they can leave her. So she's really struggling with that. That's kind of like her background, like her emotional trauma that she's dealing with. So she ends up breaking up with him when he leaves for Hollywood because she doesn't want to be like the girl waiting around for him at home while he's like out in Hollywood and like actors and actresses are paying attention to him. He's having like a whole different life. He's living like this wonderful life, exciting life and stuff like that. And she's just kind of like sitting around waiting. She doesn't want that. And she's trying to avoid that. However, she's never been able to get over him really post the breakup. And now it's 2 years later. Her sister is getting married and the wedding's in 2 weeks on Christmas Eve. And she's getting married to Easton's best friend Levi, okay? And she finds out that Easton is coming back for this wedding because obviously his best friend is marrying her sister. Easton, on the other hand, his entire plan is to get her back because he's never gotten over her either. He thinks she's his soulmate. He's like really down bad for this girl. His entire plan is to come back for this wedding, win her back, get her back. He really doesn't care about what happened between them in the past. He's, you know, just like ready to move on and like ready to be with her. He's very, very down bad, which I love. But for now, he's trying to play it cool because he doesn't want to like, you know, scare her off. So I think he's really sweet. I really like his character so far. I also like Natalie's character so far. There is a cameo of Parker and Casey in this book from The Wrong Quarterback because Casey and Natalie are best friends. So there is a little bit of a cameo of them, but not too much. So that was nice to see. But other than that, I'm really liking their characters, especially Easton because of how down bad he is for this girl. And I just really love that. That's like my favorite trait in a male main character. So this book is definitely giving that. So far I'm really enjoying it. It is a little bit insta-lusty though, even though it is second chance. Like it is kind of like insta-lusty because there's like a lot of like sexual tension between them right from the beginning, like right as soon as they see each other. But that's C.R. Jane's writing. She does really kind of like write spice forward books. So that is something that I expected, but it doesn't really bother me though. So I am really enjoying it so far. It's reading like a maybe like a 3.5, 3.75, maybe a 4-star, depending on how like the rest of the book goes. But I am enjoying it so far. So I'm gonna keep reading. But first, let's open up day 2 on the Advent Calendar so we can find out what we have in store for us today. All right, day 2. All right, we got 2 in here again. One of them is red, one of them is light blue. So let's open up the red one. Let's see what this is. It's a coal. Okay, we have a coal. Bookmarks are for quitters. You must finish your current read in one sitting. Bookmarks are for quitters. You must finish your current read in one sitting. Well, that's not ideal. I read to page 102 yesterday, so I have like 2/3 of the book left to go. So I probably should have read more yesterday. We'll see if I can do this. I honestly don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this today, but I'm going to give it my best shot and we'll see what happens. But we have a coal. We have our first coal. I can't believe it. On day 2. On day 2, we have a coal. Okay, then the other one says, Rudolph says you're all right. Open gift number 5. Rudolph says you're all right. Open gift number 5. Okay, let's find gift number 5. That's actually right here on top. So we have gift number 5. Let's open this bad boy up and see what we got. It's a box, but let's see what's inside the box. Oh, little charms and little charm strings. It's bookmarks. Okay, clever, very clever. I'll give him that. So we have a bunch of little holiday bookmarks, and it looks like they have like a little perforated hole here at the bottom. So you can put a little holiday charm on them. And it comes with a little string and like little holiday charms. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that because these are really, really cute, although I have to finish the book today. So I really have no need for this today. So that's cute. I'm really happy with these. These are really, really cute, and I will definitely put them together and put the little charms on them because they're adorable. And they also have like a ruler on them, so if you're doing annotations and you want to underline straight or something, I think that's really, really cute. So we have gift number 2 opened up. Very adorable. And then the other thing we need to do is open up December 2 for our Advent calendar book. I read the first chapter yesterday. I think I'm gonna do updates on this book at the end of each video. So like when I'm on chapter 6, on day 6, I'll give you guys an update. And then on week 2, week 3, and week 4, I'll give you guys an update on what this book is about. But let's open up December 2nd. There's my little letter opener. Excellent. So I have a lot of reading ahead of me. I have to read a chapter of this book and I have to finish this book, which is literally like, how many pages is this book? It's 305 pages, so I have to read 200 pages of this essentially, since I only read to 102. Fingers crossed, I can do this. Hi guys, it's officially December 3rd. Welcome to day 3, and I did finish the book yesterday. As you saw in my previous clip, it was late, but I did it. And honestly, I did nothing but read this yesterday. So I'm very happy that I was able to finish it yesterday in one sitting. I guess it wasn't really one sitting because I did get up and do things like eat and stuff like that, but I did complete it. I did also read my one chapter of A Heart for Christmas, but not giving any updates on this quite yet. We're gonna do that at the end of the video. And I actually really enjoyed this. This was really cute. There was one chapter in here that really like solidified my opinion on this book and the fact that I really, really liked it, which was the chapter where like her and her mom have this like really profound and heartfelt conversation about like love and what relationships should be and stuff like that. And that one really kind of like spoke to me and just kind of like solidified my opinion on this book. I really love when there's like emotional aspects in a book and like emotional discussions and stuff like that, because it really makes the book feel a lot deeper than maybe just like a surface level rom-com. And this book definitely had that a little bit. Like it wasn't too much, it had a little bit, like a little inkling of it, especially that conversation with her mom and the way that Easton felt about her. But besides that, it was mostly just focused on their romance. I did really like Easton throughout this book. Like I mentioned in my first clip, I continued to like him throughout the entire book because of how down bad he was and how like genuine he was in his feelings for her, and I really, really loved that. He did, however, have a few moments of being like arrogant and kind of full of himself, but I kind of let that slide because he is a Hollywood actor. I guess you can kind of expect that from him, but overall he felt really, really genuine and just like you could tell that he really cared about her from the writing. So I really like that. Natalie was also great. There was really nothing like special about her, to be honest with you. Like as a female main character, nothing really like stood out to me, but I did understand her because of like her past that I mentioned. She's got like some trauma with her father, and the father does make an appearance in this book, and there was like a lot of drama with that. Honestly, what came out about him and like what he did and his behavior was just appalling to me. Like I was just completely appalled by his behavior. So I can understand her trauma and I can understand her anger, and I totally felt for her and empathized honest with her because it's so much hurt to process over the years for her. So, you just can't blame her for trying to protect herself. I feel like maybe the part with the father was kind of meant to anger the reader a little bit. Like it was included in there to kind of like, rile you up a little bit. So I don't love that. I didn't really love that part about it, but that was pretty much the only thing. And I guess maybe a little bit like after their romance took off a little bit, the book did drag on maybe slightly for like a few chapters where I was just kind of finding myself to be a little bit bored and just not all that interested in what's happening. But overall, it was still pretty well paced, and I did really like the writing and the small little emotional aspects of it. I wish there was actually more of those. I wish it was a little bit more emotional because like most of the moments didn't really like tug at my heartstrings, didn't really make me feel too much, but it was still like enjoyable to read. It just didn't make me feel all that much. So I wish there was just like a little bit more of that. Otherwise, it was great. I really enjoyed it. It was cute. It was sweet. It has my favorite tropes in it, and I had a really good time. So I think I'm going to settle on a 4-star rating for this one, and even 4 stars, and I would definitely recommend it for the holiday season if you're interested because it's fun, it's cute, it's sweet, it's romantic, it's pretty fast paced, and it has like a little bit of emotional aspects to it. So that's the first book done for this vlog. Next, I think I'm going to open up my December 3rd chapter in here. So let's do that together. Let's open you up so we can start reading. So satisfying. So we have December 3rd ready to go in our advent calendar book, and now all we have to do is see what day 3 holds for us. All right, we only have one in here, and it's a book. So let's see what our next book is. He Sees You When You're Sleeping by Alta Hensley. We have He Sees You When You're Sleeping by Alta Hensley. Yay, I've been looking forward to this one because this is a dark rom-com. I did order this on Amazon. It's not the sprayed edge edition because they didn't have that in stock. And I think if I last checked, I think Walmart had it in stock, and someone said that Blackwell's has it in stock with the sprayed edges, but I had already ordered it on Amazon. So we're just gonna work with this. I am pretty sure this glows in the dark still. I haven't tested it out yet, but it does say that the cover is glow in the dark. So I'm assuming it's like the actual title because it's kind of like raised a little bit, and then this little skull thing right here. I think these two things will glow in the dark. I believe this series is called Naughty or Nice, and the second book, He Knows When You're Awake, is out already, so I'm hoping to read that this month as well. But for now, we're gonna get started with this one, and then I will check in with you guys when I have my first update. Hi guys, so I have an update for you. I'm halfway through the book. I'm on chapter 20, I believe, so I wanted to do a quick check-in. By the way, I'm using one of my new bookmarks, which is this gingerbread man, and I put a little charm on it because these charms, you can kind of assemble them to go on whichever bookmarks you want, and I decided to put the little candy cane on this, if you can see right there, and I think that's so stinking cute. I kind of don't love that they're upside down, like to have the charm be at the top, like the bookmark has to be upside down. It doesn't really matter because it's inside the book. But anyways, book updates. So this follows the main character Chloe and Jack. And Chloe is a jewelry brand social media influencer. She works from home. She's basically like a brand ambassador for a jewelry company. And Jack is a firefighter and also a stalker. And this is set in New York. So this book essentially starts off with Chloe kind of like running out of her house because her neighbor, she's got this neighbor, Mr. Haven, who's like 80 years old. He was shoveling his walkway and he fell down. So she runs out to help him, and one thing she notices is that her walkway has been shoveled, but her neighbor's, Mr. Haven's, walkway was not shoveled. And then she realizes that her walkway is always shoveled. She never has to shovel her walkway. So like, what's going on? She's a little bit confused. So as she's helping her neighbor up, somebody's walking by and he runs over to help them, and it turns out it's Jack. So Chloe doesn't know this, but us as readers, we know that Jack is always around because he's basically stalking her. He's always outside her window, and it turns out that Jack is the one who's been shoveling her walkway, and that is because he doesn't want to have his boot prints like showing in the snow leading up to her window. So that was his reasoning for like always shoveling her walkway, which I thought was kind of funny. But one good thing out of this is that now he realizes he's got to shovel the neighbor's walkway as well, because he kind of feels bad for him, and because now she's suspecting that the landlord has been doing it and it wasn't the landlord. So at least one good thing so far has come out of this, because now Mr. Haven gets to have his walkway shoveled as well. Anyways, so Chloe has this like secret interest. It's basically like a kink, and even though she's doing like her regular branded posts for the jewelry company that she represents, she's also been working with like an independent jewelry designer that creates more like gothic dark pieces that are more like her speed, that kind of like match her interest a little bit more. And she also has like this secret account online with her face hidden where she's kind of like doing her kink and stuff like that. So she's definitely into some darker things, and Jack obviously knows about it because he's always watching. He's always been kind of like staying in the background, always just watching from afar, except one day after he helps the neighbor, he decides to follow her to her favorite cafe, and they actually like bump into each other, and she's like, hey, I know you helped my neighbor, let's chat, let's have a conversation. And they kind of hit it off a little bit, you know, like this was the first time that they've ever like talked to each other besides like the helping the neighbor part. And he's basically like pretending that he doesn't know anything about her, even though he knows basically everything about her. But then Chloe's kind of like not sure. She does like him, but she's, you know, because of like her secret interests and stuff like that, she's looking for somebody who's not so vanilla, and she's kind of assuming that Jack is a little bit vanilla because he's so nice and helpful and like all this stuff. But their date is really sweet, and she does actually like start kind of like being interested in him a little bit. They have like a really good back and forth. It's sweet, they have good banter, and she does like him, but she's just not sure because she kind of assumes that he's vanilla, like basically like all the other guys that she's ever dated. Jack, on the other hand, is dealing with a lot of internal turmoil, so this guy's got a lot of depth to him, and I'm very curious to learn more about him, and like very interested to see how like this relationship will develop, because obviously they're a good match, because he also has those dark sides that she's looking for in a relationship. She just doesn't know about it yet. So I'm very into the story. I'm very like curious to know what's going to happen, and it's definitely keeping my interest. I will say though that the writing in the beginning is not that great. It was reading very like staccato, very kind of like tell not show, but I feel that now by the halfway point it has kind of like found its stride a little bit, and it's getting a little bit better. But it is interesting, and I'm going to keep reading and then update you guys probably tomorrow when I'm done with the book. Good morning, friends. I feel like all my updates are going to be done from this spot right here in this entire video, because I feel like I need to be like by the tree in case there's like a present that I need to open up from the advent calendar. So I feel like almost every single update you guys are seeing are going to be of me sitting here in the same spot. But anyways, it's Thursday, December 4th, and we need to open up day 4 in the advent calendar. However, before I do that, I did actually finish this book last night. So I gave you guys an update, like a halfway point update earlier, and then I just kept reading until I finished it, because this is actually a very, very fast read. I did also listen to a part of it on Spotify, because there is an audiobook for this on Spotify. However, I don't really recommend you listen to this audiobook because it's not really like a great audiobook. And I have heard this before from other people, like the few people that I've talked to about this book, no one really seems to like the audiobook either. So I was kind of curious as to like what is up with it. And I would say I kind of agree with that, because the narrator's voices didn't like pull you into the story and like make it so that like you're lost in the story. So honestly, if you're interested in reading this, I would recommend reading this with your eyeballs if you're able to do so. It's not terrible when it comes to the audiobook, but it's not like the best. I just didn't love the way that the female narrator did the male voice and then the male narrator did the female voice. And that's just something that kind of pulled me out of the story a little bit. But with that being said, I actually really enjoyed this story. Like I really like this book, and I think that's an unpopular opinion, to be honest with you, because I did actually talk about this with a couple of people, and I saw some Goodreads reviews, and honestly it's not rated that highly, and I'm just hearing other people's opinion on this, and it's not great. But I personally enjoyed it. I'm mostly rating this based on like vibes, because I had a really fun time with this. Like I really like the story. It's not like the best writing or anything like that. This is not literature. There are some plot holes in this, but it's a fun time. I had a fun time with this book. I thought it was a little bit different than most most things that I've read in the dark romance genre, because this one actually has a different kind of kink that I've never read about before. Like most dark romances have like the same type of kink, like everybody has like the same type of kink. So this one's a little bit different, and I was very pleasantly surprised by that. I thought it was fun, and I just liked the dynamic between the two main characters. But like I said, there are some plot holes in here, like some things that could have been better developed. For example, one instance of that is in the beginning, she's working with like an independent jewelry designer, and she's getting like these gothic kind of like darker pieces from that specific jewelry designer that she's supposed to be basically using in her videos, but she doesn't actually use them in the videos. At least I don't think she did, because she used like the jewelry from her like mainstream job in those videos. So it's like the author brought it up, but they never like closed the loop on that, you know? But it didn't really change the story in any real way, so honestly I didn't really care. The other thing I noticed that wasn't super developed was Chloe's friendship with Sloane, because at first I thought they were coworkers, or like Sloane was her boss, but apparently they're like much closer friends than I would have initially guessed, because they share like very personal things with each other. They have like this friendship that could have been better developed, because there's a scene in here where Chloe shares something very personal with Sloane, and I was like a little bit thrown as to like, why are you telling her this? Like, this is like your boss slash coworker. Why are you telling her something so personal? But apparently they have like a much better friendship than what the book originally leads you to believe. But again, it didn't really take anything away from me enjoying the book. So overall, I'll say I had a really good time with this one. It was like a fun, giggly time. It's not amazing literature or anything like that. Don't go into this expecting to be like blown away by the writing or the storytelling or anything like that. This is just here for like a good time. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I'm rating this based on vibes and like my personal enjoyment like that I experienced while reading this book, and I think I'm going to rate this one 4 stars. I know that's an unpopular opinion. I feel like most people are rating this like 2 or 3 or something like that. Like it's just not really hitting with a lot of people, but I don't know why. Maybe it was my mood yesterday, but I just had a fun time with this book. So I'm going to give it a 4, and I stand by my rating, okay? So that's book 2 of this vlog finished. Now let's open up chapter 4 from the Advent book. We have December 4th to read, and this is literally my favorite part. There. So satisfying. These chapters are very quick, very short, but again, I will give you an update at the end of the video for this book. So we have that opened, and now we just need to open up drawer number 4 in the Advent calendar and see what's in store for us today. Alrighty, we have a light blue and it's a gift. It says, "You've been nice, open gift number 10. You've been nice, open gift number 10. So we don't have a book today. That's interesting. Oh, that's gift number 10 right here. So I have gift number 10 right here. We don't actually have a book to read today, and I did finish the book yesterday, so I don't really have anything to read today, but that's fine because I think I'll just take a little break. So let's open this guy up. Okay, so this is one of those neck reading lights. Oh, that's so cute. So I've been wanting this because I do have a reading light, which I don't really use that frequently. It's one of those clip-on reading lights that you clip onto your book, but it doesn't really work very well with like paperbacks. Like it works better with a hardback, but it's just a little too heavy for the paperback. So I wanted something that you don't have to actually attach to the book itself. And also I find that the other one just kind of like leaves little dents in the pages as well. If you like do like a bunch of pages to like keep it up, it leaves like a little dent to it. So I didn't want a reading light that actually like has anything to do with my books because I don't want them to get damaged. And I thought this was going to be a really good solution, so I added it to my list, and I'm very happy that I got it. So let me just open him up really quick and see how this works. Okay, so it comes with a little charging cable, which is nice because nobody wants to deal with batteries. It's got foil on the actual lamps itself. Let me take that off. So you just do one of these and you're sitting there, and you got 2 lights for each page. You can move them around. So I think this will be super handy. I can't wait to use it with all the lights off in the room and then just like my Christmas tree on. I think that'll be super cozy, and that way I don't need to have any bright lights on. So I think that's it for this segment. I'm going to take a break tonight since I don't have a book to read, and then we will come back tomorrow for day number 5. Good morning, friends. Welcome to day 5. It's December 5th. And it's time to open up drawer number 5 on our advent calendar and see what we have today. I don't have a book update for you guys today because, as you know, I didn't read anything but 1 chapter of this book last night, but we can open up the December 5th chapter. So let's go ahead and do that really quickly before we get to the advent calendar. Here we go. Love that. All right, we got December 5th ready to go. Now let's see what we have in the advent calendar. All right, we have 2 in here today, yay. We have a green and a blue, which the blue I know is a book, so let's see what book we have to read first. My Favorite Holiday by Lauren Blakely. My Favorite Holiday by Lauren Blakely. Let me grab that book really quickly. This is the next book we're starting. I have this book and I have the second book in the series. I think this is called the Evergreen series or something like that. It's either a series or an interconnected standalones, but there's a second book of hers that's in this kind of like interconnected standalone series kind of thing. I hear very good things about her books. One of my friends said that her writing is very similar to like Megan Quinn's writing, like for her holiday romances, where it's just like really like filled with humor and just like kind of a little bit over the top and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that very much. I have no idea what this book is about specifically, but I guess we'll find out together. I don't know if it's just me, but like I don't typically, like most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, I don't read the back of the book because I just really like going into romance books blind and just like being surprised throughout the story. So I don't know if that's just me, but let me know down below how you guys do it. Do you read the back of the book to know kind of like what it's about, or do you just kind of go off of vibes or other people's reviews? Generally, if I hear someone else's review on this book and they're saying like they had a good time with the book, it was funny, like kind of like feelings-based reviews, then I'll just buy the book because I kind of want to have like those same emotions, those same feelings, like that same kind of experience with the book. But let me know how you guys do it. Do you always read the synopsis in the back of the book to decide whether or not you're going to read a book or buy a book? So that was card number 1, and we also have a green, and this one says, Reward. You've been nice. Santa will treat you to a festive holiday beverage at Barnes Cafe. Reward. You've been nice. Santa will treat you to a festive holiday beverage at Barnes Cafe. So I guess we're going to Barnes today. I'm so excited. I probably won't buy a book today because I kind of want to wait for new releases to come out next year, and I'm not really sure. Like there's still a few books that are already out that are on my list that I don't have yet, but I think for the most part I'm going to wait until January for the new releases. Although I could be lying to your face right now, because if I'm at Barnes and I see something that I want, there's a very high probability that I'm going to pick it up. So we're going to Barnes for coffees this time. Good morning, it's day 6 and the final day of this reading vlog. We have one last day to open up in the advent calendar for this week. I also have a reading update for you because yesterday we went to the Barnes Cafe. I ended up getting a festive holiday drink, which was actually the peppermint white hot chocolate, which they have right now, which I really like. I read a little bit at Barnes. I came back home and read a little bit at home, and I was using the reading light last night, as you saw in my previous clip, and this thing is a game changer. I really loved it. It's like the perfect amount of light on the lowest setting, and then I had the room dark pretty much with just the Christmas tree on, which was total vibes. It was a glorious night. I got a lot of reading done and I'm very happy with how my evening went yesterday. So I do have a book update for you. I got to chapter 22, page 163 in the book, so I'm not quite halfway through, but I'm like almost halfway through, and this follows the two main characters, Fable and Wilder. Now Wilder is a billionaire. He's the owner of like a football team in San Francisco, and Fable is the director of merchandise for his company. And it starts off with him hosting kind of like a Thanksgiving thing at his house. And Fable is there with her boyfriend Brady. There's a lot of relationships in the very beginning of this book, like how everybody's kind of related. So Fable is dating Brady. Brady is cousins with Leo, and Leo is Wilder's best friend. And Leo also gets engaged to Fable's sister Charlotte, but Fable also works for Wilder. So it's kind of complicated because there's a lot of connections between these characters, but essentially what happens is during this Thanksgiving dinner, Wilder invites everybody to participate in like their annual Best in Snow Winter Games competition. So I guess he has this every year. Everybody participates, and it takes place at his resort. But also during this dinner, she ends up catching Brady cheating on her with the caterer. So they're broken up, and now she doesn't have a partner. Now there's also another prominent character in here named Bibi, and she is Wilder's aunt, and she has been trying to set up Wilder to date people for like a long time. Apparently because he's a billionaire and he's like an eligible bachelor, everybody wants to set him up to like be with somebody, but none of those relationships are working out, and he just wants her to stop. Basically, he's kind of like annoyed by the whole idea of getting set up with somebody that he's not interested in. So then after the dinner, he's having a meeting with Fable in his office, like about the merch and stuff like that. And then he's like, hey, I saw something was wrong at the dinner. Are you okay? Like, what happened? And she ends up telling her that Brady cheated on her and that they're like now broken up. So she tells him about that. Then randomly Bibi comes into their meeting, interrupts their meeting, and is like, hey, I have somebody to set you up with. And then one thing leads to another, and they end up saying that they're actually dating each other. So this turned into like a fake dating situation. Now Fable is basically like pretending to be his fake girlfriend so that he doesn't have to get set up with other people for like these winter games and stuff, or at least until after Christmas. And then Wilder says that he's gonna help her make Brady jealous and then show Brady how you're actually supposed to treat a woman. So they're both kind of like mutually helping each other that way. This is so stinking cute. So they're in the midst of like kind of like practicing fake dating and like going on dates and getting to know each other and stuff like that, but also kind of like practicing affection, which, you know, it's nothing new in a fake dating romance because like you kind of like see that all the time. But the way that Lauren Blakely wrote it is so good because the tension is so thick. There's so much tension between them. Their banter is really funny and really cute. So I'm really enjoying being in these scenes right now. So I'm gonna keep reading. Hopefully I'll be able to finish this today since it is the last day of this particular vlog, and then I will give you guys my final update and rating. Before right now, we have to open our final chapter in this book, the December 6th chapter. So let's do that right now. So good as always. And then I'm going to read this final chapter and then give you guys an update on this book. So we also have that to do. And then our final step for right now, we got to open up the advent calendar. Alrighty, we have one little blue card in here today. Let's see what this says. You've been naughty. Just kidding. You've been nice. Open gift number 2. You've been naughty. Just kidding. You've been nice. Open gift number 2. Let's find gift number 2. Oh, here it is. I found gift number 2. So let's open this guy up and see what we got. This looks like it's a scented candle, I think. Let's see what it is. Ooh, so this is smells like ignoring your responsibilities and reading all day. Smells like ignoring your responsibilities and reading all day. Yep, that sounds like me. I'm gonna put this on my bookshelf because this sounds exactly like me, so this will be perfect on my bookshelf. And this is a lavender scented soy wax candle. Oh, that smells lovely. So that's our gift for today. I'm gonna put this on the bookshelf and then continue reading and then check in with you guys when I have final updates on my reading. Hi guys, so I finished my reading yesterday, but I didn't have enough light to actually film like the final update. So I'm gonna do that today, even though today is not actually part of this week's video, so we're not opening up another drawer in the advent calendar today, although I will film that right after this, and that's gonna post next week. I finished My Favorite Holiday by Lauren Blakely yesterday, and this one was really cute. I really enjoyed it. I think it's like a very well-rounded, kind of like perfect holiday read that I feel like most people would like. Like there's really nothing in here that could potentially turn you off to the book. book. So I feel like it's a very well-versed holiday romance for basically anybody to read. So it is kind of similar to How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn, but not quite as over the top in terms of like the holiday cheer and like all the holiday references and stuff like that. But there is kind of like a similar competition that happens here, although it is more in the background in this book. Like it's not like in the forefront of the story. The romance is definitely the forefront of this story, whereas in How My Neighbor Stole Christmas, it was kind of like a mix of both. So I think this is probably going to be more enjoyable for those of you who thought maybe How My Neighbor Stole Christmas was just over the top in terms of like everything. But I still enjoyed the other book too. It was one of my favorite holiday reads because I thought it was so fun. But I know that it did get some mixed reviews. So if you didn't like that one, maybe give this one a chance because this one's not quite as over the top. It's very focused on the romance, and the romance is so very sweet. Because they're fake dating, I feel like there's so many of those perfect moments in this where they can like come clean about their feelings and like profess their feelings, that their feelings are actually becoming real. They're not really fake anymore, but they just continuously just talk themselves out of it. It's a little bit frustrating, but not like in a bad way, like frustrating in a good way, because that was the original plan for the both of them. So they're just technically sticking to the plan. You know what I mean? So it's not like frustrating, but it's kind of like a fun frustrating, you know? I also really loved how much Wilder loved her handmade gifts. She made him a few handmade gifts throughout the story, and he just like genuinely really loved them. And I thought that was like very authentic, very cute, very sweet. There's just so many moments like that where I'm just like loving their connection. So I had a really good time with this book. Everything about it was like perfectly written, perfectly paced, great spice scenes, and just like the story developed really well overall. So I had a great time with this one. I think I'm going to rate this one 4.25 stars because I feel like I liked it a little bit more than the other books I read in this vlog, and I would definitely recommend this for anybody if you're just looking for a fun holiday romance that, you know, has some really good spice in it and some fun holiday cheer. Then I also have an update for you on this book, and this one I'm sad to say I'm not really enjoying all that much. I'm only on chapter 6 obviously because I'm reading one chapter per day, and I feel like I already know how the story is going to go. So this is essentially following the main character April. It's set in the like Alps area in wherever the Alps are. And she was born with like a defective left ventricle, like in her heart. And then when she was 16, she ended up having a heart attack and had to have like a pacemaker put in. And then at the age of 17, she had a heart transplant. So she's dealing with like a lot of health issues. And as this story is taking place, she's already 19. So she's been like recovering from her heart transplant for like 2 years almost. Her parents are divorced. They divorced just before she had her heart attack. And she wants to spend Christmas with her dad because she basically lives with her mom. She spends most of her time with her mom, and her dad lives in this like mountain town, like this mountain resort or whatever. So her mom is dropping her off basically at her dad's house so that she can spend the month of December with her dad until Christmas. Now her mom is very protective of her. She's very strict with like, you know, the things she can and cannot do because she's basically on medication so that her body doesn't reject the new heart. And so she's got like a lot of restrictions. She's been living a very restricted life. Like she can't really eat anything that she wants. She wants to make sure that like she's at like her peak at all times, because also the medication that she takes makes her like weaker and like her immunity goes down and stuff like that, you know, like so it's just a lot of stuff that she has to do. She can't really work out or exercise or do a lot of like physical activities. All the exercise and physical activities she does is under supervision indoors twice a week and stuff like that, you know, so she's just like very restricted when it comes to everything. And April is fine with that because she understands the seriousness of her condition, because she does want to see her father for Christmas, so she's going out to see him. Now everybody else in this book, like all the characters in this book besides her mom, like I understand her mom, like her mom is a little bit strict, but I see why she's being strict and I completely understand that, and like I completely support that. And April does too, and she does like what her mom says, but she just kind of doesn't want to be told, you know what I mean? So then when she goes to her dad's, everybody in that town, including her father, are all just like, you need to live your life, you need to stop being so careful, you need to like just like eat whatever because you've been so restricted. And they're just like telling her to do all these things. And her dad does cross-country skiing and he's like out on the slopes all the time and he wants to take her on long hikes and stuff like that. And I'm just like, why? don't you understand the severity of the situation? They're just like, it's been 2 years. It's time for you to like stop being afraid of your body and start trusting her body and stuff like that. So like that's their perspective. And there's also the love interest in the story, Augustin, and he is the brother of her best friend Eva or Eva. And Eva's not there. She's like in a different town. She's studying for something, so she didn't come to the town for Christmas this year, but her brother is there, and her brother's kind of doing the same thing. Like he keeps like pressuring her to just like get out there and like be around people, but she can't be around people because her like immunity is low. So it's just like really, really weird in that sense. And I just don't love how everybody's just like pressuring her to do these things that she knows she shouldn't be doing. And there was even one moment, and I don't remember if it was the love interest, Augustin, who said this, or if it was her dad, but they're like, get out on the slopes. I guarantee you, like those were their exact words. They said, I guarantee you, you'll be fine. And like, number one, you can't guarantee her shit because like her doctors can't even guarantee anything for her. And the surgeon that did her transplant can't guarantee her anything. So what makes you think, being like a backwoods mountain man, like that you can guarantee her something? You can't. So that was really annoying. There's just like a lot of odd things that these characters are saying and doing, and I'm not loving that. I can see where the story is going because I feel like April is going to be like, yeah, I want to go out and like do those things, but like I know I shouldn't, but I really want to. And she's going to go along with it and everything will be fine. But like in reality, I feel like I need to compare this to reality because the author is using like such a real life example or situation that like you can compare this to reality. And the reality is that it might not be fine. So I'm not loving that. I'm not really loving where the story is going to go. April does say no. She's not a pushover or anything. She does say no a lot, but she's just getting so much pressure from everybody, like the townspeople, the friends, her dad, the love interest, like literally everybody's kind of just like encouraging her to like do all these things, go out to bars, drinking, eating whatever, and just like going out on the slopes. Like this girl should not be going out on the slopes when for the last 2 years she's just had supervised exercise indoors. So I just don't understand it. Maybe I just don't understand like where these characters are coming from. Maybe that'll get further explained, but I just feel like the whole point of it is that they want what's best for her and they just want her to kind of like let go a little bit and like live her life, which, you know, it's not up to them to decide, in my opinion. And I just find it very selfish. So I'm not loving it right now. Hopefully it gets better, but like I feel like I already know where this story is going to go and like how it's going to turn out. Like I know it's going to turn out well because like it's a Christmas story and everything, but I'm just not liking the characters at all except for April. I am going to keep reading it though, and I am going to finish it because I'm already committed. I've already opened the first 6 chapters, and I do like the concept of the Advent calendar book, like the fact that all the chapters are sealed and you could really only read 1 chapter per day. I do like that concept of it. I think it's really fun, but this story is lacking for me a lot. So that's where I'm at with this book. I'm going to give you guys another update when I'm on chapter 12 at the end of next week's video, and like so on and so forth in video 3 and 4 until we finish the book on the 24th. But just for a quick recap, we read 3 books in this video. I really liked all of these actually. The first one was Marry Me by C.R. Jane. This book followed Natalie and Easton. It's a second chance and he's like a Hollywood actor. I did really enjoy this one and I rated this one 4 stars. Then the next one we read in this video was He Sees You When You're Sleeping, and this book follows Chloe and Jack. Chloe is the jewelry influencer and Jack is the firefighter and he's like her stalker. It's kind of like a dark rom-com. I also really enjoyed this one. I thought this was a really fun time, and I also ended up rating this one 4 stars. And then you just heard my thoughts on My Favorite Holiday by Lauren Blakely, and this one was 4.25 stars. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you made it to this part in the video, please leave me a Christmas tree emoji and let me know if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were. I would really love to know if any of you have actually read this book and like what you thought about it, because I feel like people are divided on this one, and I'm very curious to know about the thoughts of the people who are actually watching my videos. But again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.